Hey friends, welcome to the 67th episode of the Sunday Knitting Society podcast. My name is Chelsea and I'm a knitter in Oklahoma City. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're coming back, welcome back. Hope you guys have had a good couple weeks. There's a lot that's happened in the last couple weeks. We have had some awful weather this last week. We're like in the lull right now, but I think more is coming later today and tomorrow. I think it's just like coming in waves, so that's really fun. I am tired this morning because last night it was like about 10 o'clock and I was about to go to bed, and then I knew we were supposed to get some weather at some point, so I like pulled up my radar app, and we're under a tornado watch, which a watch means conditions are favorable, a warning means it's happening. So I pulled up the news, and they were doing, so in Oklahoma, if you're not from here, when there are storms, the weathermen have like uninterrupted coverage. So it does not matter what's on TV unless it's a Thunder game, and then they just do cut-ins if worst case scenario they have to actually like broadcast over the Thunder game. They'll probably like do it on a different channel or something. But yeah, so they just play round the clock because you can get pretty big outbreaks and you can have tornadoes in multiple different cities at the same time, and so they try to give people warning. But they were saying that our watch extended until 6 a.m., which was like, that's a long time for this to be a possibility. But there was a big supercell moving towards me, kind of slowly, honestly. So I stayed up till 1 a.m. just making sure it had passed me. Honestly, it got to the point that I was laying down on my couch watching, and I kept falling asleep and waking up, and I was like, oh, I need to know what's happening. But thankfully it all went south of me. And I don't know if there was actually a tornado touchdown. I think there was some really scary looking clouds. And there was really heavy rain. We've had so much rain now that if it rains at all, it just sits on the ground. It doesn't absorb. But yeah, that's not fun. And then earlier this week, I think it was on Tuesday, I just gotten home from work and the tornado sirens went off, which means there is a tornado in the county somewhere, or like they do it in like an area where it could be, and the sirens go off at that area. So I like pulled up the TV real quick just to see if it was actually coming for me, and it was actually coming for me. So normally I am prepared for tornadoes. If I know I'm gonna have to get in my shelter, I have a bag packed with like essentials in case my entire house gets blown away. And also usually what happens is whatever yarn I bought most recently that's still out gets packed in that bag as well. But this time I literally had nothing packed. So I grabbed my purse and my keys and ran outside, or ran to the garage and got in my shelter. It is not pleasant being in there. It's not. So I try to spend as little time in there as possible, and it's gross. And so I like sit there trying to touch nothing. And trying to not think about all the spiders that live in there. But thankfully I think it went like a little bit north of me, and I don't think anything touched down with that either. But there was definitely some big areas where it was quite low and could have popped off a tornado at any point. But other than that, it's just been heavy rain, and hopefully I think after Sunday we have a little bit of a break, and I need spring to be over. I'm done. The weather's already at summer. We just need to be done with it at this point. But I also, since last time I went to Phoenix, I had a conference out there, and my grandparents live out there. So I did the conference, and then afterward went and spent an evening with my grandparents. And I will talk about my stay with my grandparents a little bit later. But one of the really cool things we got to do while we were there is take a Waymo ride, which if you are in a city that has them, I'm so jealous. We don't have them here, but they're autonomously driven cars, so self-driving cars. And I saw them because they look really funky. They've got like this big cone on the top of the car. And when I first saw them, I thought it was like some weird air conditioner. And then I don't remember how I looked it up and I was like, oh, they're self-driven. All of the cars are Jaguar EVs, which is kind of bougie. But they actually had from what I read, they have a lower crash rate than humans. And the prices were pretty comparable or actually cheaper than Uber. So I took a few of those rides. I will say you kind of can't look out the front window because I am a control freak. And so I was like, my foot was mimicking pushing the brake pedal and I was kind of nervous, but it always stopped in time. And honestly, it stopped ahead of time. It was a very safe ride. From my experience in Phoenix, those cars will not go on the highway, which does mean it takes a little bit longer. So my grandparents live like 10 minutes from the airport and I booked a ride to the airport and it took us 35 minutes because we went through neighborhoods and city streets instead of going on the highway. And I had plenty of time, so it wasn't a major issue, but it was just something to be aware of. But I was thinking about that. Most people on the highway drive at least a little bit over the speed limit, and the people who actually drive the speed limit on the highway are honestly kind of the dangerous ones. So I kind of get why, like, this car can't go over the speed limit because it's automated. And yeah, so anyway, it was fun. I would do it again. Honestly, if I could own a self-driving car as my main vehicle, I would. I am a good driver, but I don't enjoy it. And I would just think of all the knitting time. Just sit in the back seat with your music playing or a podcast and knitting. It would be the best. But I don't think I can afford that right now. And I don't think Oklahoma is ready for that. So I can just imagine all the time someone would call 911 if I was driving down the street in a autonomous car. Yeah, that would be comical, honestly. Okay, guys, I've got a lot. There are piles. It's just a lot. It's all good. Well, almost. It's all a learning process. So I'm going to start with what I'm wearing. This is the Plain Yoke Tee 22 by Lay Knit. And I knit this out of some cotton from Purl Soho. It was the Cotton Pure on a cone. I got it in here. This guy, I think this one, it was antique something. I don't remember what exact, antique beige or something like that. I don't know, but it was the antique one. I love this. I've knit one of these before out of Antigone, which was a linen yarn. It's a sport weight. And I love that. I love the fit of that top. I did not get gauge on it. My gauge was much looser. And so the other one I made was pretty see-through. So I do wear it over dresses, but I'm not really comfortable wearing it on its own. This one is not see-through. I found some thread on it. That's great. I knit this on a US 5, which is, I think this pattern recommends US 6, but I did gauge swatch and I like the fabric, and I actually got gauge with the 5. I started this one, I think I had just split for the sleeves before my trip to Phoenix, and I was not going to bring a huge cone on the plane. And then as I was packing, I was like, I don't want to start another project. I just want to bring this one. And so I did some Tetris to figure out how I could fit this in my carry-on. And the other good thing is I did carry-on only. And so I had a rolly carry-on and then my tote bag. And so I never really had to carry my tote bag because it just sat on top of my suitcase. So it really wasn't that bad. And I was still able to fit like my laptop and like chargers and other little things in my wallet, all that in there. So it fit. It would have been miserable if I actually had to carry that bag the whole time though. But I did it, and I finished this pretty quickly after I got home, and I've worn it several times since then. I just think it fits really well. I think it's a really flattering cut. It's light. It is, I keep finding thread on it because I've been sewing so much. I am going to Greece next month, and I've been kind of thinking ahead and trying to finish projects that I can take with me on my trip. So this is one that's going with me. It probably would be too hot for the middle of the day. It is still somewhat heavy. But I think like in the evening or early morning, this would be really nice. And I could even use this as like a swimsuit cover up because it's cotton. And what else was I gonna say with it? I love this yarn. It doesn't feel crunchy at all. I think at the gauge I knit this at, I had 0 problems with my hands. Like, it did not hurt my hands at all. And I was knitting a lot on it. It just feels really nice, and it's got a good drape to it. So 2 thumbs up. I actually started another top in this same yarn, but I'm having doubts about the gauge, so I think I'm gonna end up ripping it out. But that is all for my knitting FOs. I have a lot of SOs, sewing objects, sewing finished SFOs, sewing finished objects. I don't know if there's an abbreviation for that yet. I'm gonna save those to the end just because I know not everybody's here for the sewing. So let's get into whips. So the other top that I started with this cotton, you can just see, I mean, I don't think I like it, but it's the Anchor Summer Shirt by Petite Knit. And I just think it's way too loose. Like, that ribbing just looks so messy. And I hit gauge, so this is the correct gauge. I just don't think the yarn is thick enough. So, and I think if I held it double, it'd be way too thick. So this is probably gonna get ripped out. I've really struggled with what I want to make with this. I have plenty left. I have so much left. I could easily make another tee in this. Maybe even 2, honestly. I could do a tank and a tee. I just don't know what I want to make. So yeah, this will probably, which is, I mean, I haven't done that much of it, but I'll probably rip this out and start over with something else. I've been all over Ravelry trying to find, I don't want something really fitted. I want something with a good drape to it. I don't want lots of lace. I want something very simple. I actually even thought about doing like a Tolsta tank. Problem with that is I kind of fall between gauges on that. So I can get a 20 stitch gauge, but the Tolsta's in a 17 stitch or a 24, I think. And I don't think I would like either of those gauges with this yarn. So I don't know. I think the 20 stitch gauge was like the perfect gauge for this. So I need to maybe just, actually I've gone in and searched 20 stitch gauge tees, and I just still, like, nothing feels right. So if you have any good suggestions for that, please let me know. I don't know, unless I make like a tank, I don't know if I'll have enough time to make another knitted object to take with me to Greece. And honestly, like, I'm trying to be realistic about this, that probably not going to be wearing a lot of knitted things in Greece because it's going to be hot. So we'll see, but this one's kind of in timeout right now. The one that I started when that one kind of didn't work out real well is a Tolsta tank. I'm at the, I just started it. Have not made much progress on it. I'm using 2 strands of Pure Silk by Knitting for Olive. This is the blood orange colorway, and I'm holding them double. I've done this before. What's funny is I swatched, but then I realized I've done the exact same thing before. I knit one in a silvery color, no, navy blue color, and I didn't need to swatch, but it's fine. Swatches could change, you never know. But I'm really liking this one so far. I did modify it to do kind of like a ribbing with a rolled hem at the bottom. And you guys, you should be so proud of me. The Thunder had our first game in the playoffs, or the finals, Thursday. It was a heartbreaking game, actually. But we had a little watch party at my boss's house, and he has like a home theater, which is dope, honestly. But so we're like in these recliners, and it was so comfy. And he actually made the lights not fully, like, he didn't turn them off all the way. He kind of kept them like dim so I could knit. But I kind of got into the game, and I actually did all my ribbing, most of it without even looking, which that's a new level for me. Like, I can do stockinette without looking any day of the week. Purling, I'm not as, like, I kind of need to check every once in a while just to make sure I got my stitches correctly on the needles. But ribbing, I have not been able to do completely without looking. And I was just in it. I was just knitting and watching the game, and I only had one mistake. Of course, it was like in the last 5 minutes of the game. And so I'm like trying to get my little fixer tool and like watch the game. And after I fixed it, I just put it back in my bag. And I always joke I have to have like an emotional support pillow to hold on to at the end of the games. But we got like 2 inches done on this, and I started it Wednesday. So this would be much further along if it weren't for sewing. So I do think if I can finish this in time, I want to take this with me to Greece, just because everything so my guest bed's over here, and this is how I plan what I'm going to bring for a trip, as I lay everything out. And so far everything is blue, cream, black, or navy. So I'm like, I need a pop of something. I need color. So I might bring this, and being that it's a plant fiber too, this could also double as like a swim cover up if I need to. I know from experience, this is one of the few, or the other one I have in blue is one of the few garments I can actually wear in the summer. So I think it'll be nice. And I haven't fully decided. I kind of have. So there are 3 top options for the Tolsta tank. I've knit all 3 of them. The V-neck, like camisole type one, I didn't love. I think it was too wide on me. There's a square neck one I love, and then there's the regular just tank. I think I'm gonna do the tank because I want to do this edging on the armhole and the neck. And you can't really do that with the square neck. So I'll probably do a tank. But maybe that will get more work on it today. I don't know. I'm kind of in a sewing like frenzy right now. And then the last knitting thing is not that exciting. It's my purse sock. Ooh, I'm in the middle of a row. That doesn't happen very often. Gosh. Oh my gosh, guys, this is so knotted. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm at the top part. I think I'm actually getting pretty close to where I need to start the heel. So I might do that today. We'll see. But these have been fun. They kind of actually match outside because it's so green outside right now because of all the rain. Okay, I thought I snagged them. These are staying in my all-time favorite sock bag from Fat Squirrel. Little sexy carrots. All right, I have one knitting acquisition that came in this time. I have more coming today, but I'll show that next time. I haven't been buying a lot of yarn. I mean, for the most part, it's been less than normal. I think it's because I've been buying so much fabric. I have a problem, but here's the thing. Fabric, you can sew so much faster than you can knit. So I think I felt this yarn when I was at Flock last year, and it felt really nice, and it's like got a cult following, but I've never bought any, and I snapped this week or last week, I guess, and I got some Undine, and I got the fingering weight from Ritual Dyes. Now, I clearly did not look at the picture that well because I did not realize it had variegation in it. I love it. I think it looks so pretty. So I got 4 skeins of this. This is a fingering weight. It's 382 yards and 100 grams. So it's maybe like a little bit heavier fingering weight. I don't think it's a sport weight though. It's still fingering. And it is 60/40 cotton and linen. I love linen. Cotton's not always my favorite, but this yarn just gets like, I'm not kidding, it's got like a cult following. People love this stuff. So I'm gonna have to make something with it. I don't know if I'll have time to do, I probably won't have time to do it before Greece, but maybe I could take it with me to Greece. Maybe that could be my Greece project. I don't know. I think I maybe want to make the Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. That's one that's on such a tiny needle that it's just been really daunting and like intimidating, but my flight to Greece is 11 hours. I'm leaving out of Atlanta. It's 11 hours out and 12 hours back. So I'm gonna have so much knitting time on the plane because like I normally sleep on the way out there and I'm a good sleeper, but like I'm not gonna sleep 11 hours. And I've got to get to Atlanta, so I've got all that time too. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll bring this because this would squish down pretty easily. Just need to figure out what I guess I already said what I was gonna make with it. Yeah, that pattern has just kind of daunted me because I think you knit it on like a 2.5, US 2.5 or something, and that feels so tiny for a sweater. Okay, sorry, the clouds just came back and it just got kind of ominously dark. Okay, so we've got, actually let me show you guys this one thing. This is maybe the transition from one craft to another. I had mentioned or posted on Instagram about this. I forgot to mention it in the last podcast, but I have a dress that I got on Etsy several years ago. I actually have several dresses from them. It's linen by MN, I think, and they make custom fit linen dresses. So you pick the style you want and then you send them I actually think they have set sizes, but you can request certain alterations and you do have to pay for them, but they're not that bad. And overall their prices for custom linen dresses is very nice. To be honest, I actually like the style of this one dress better than I like my not perfect linen dresses. I just think that they flatter me better. But okay, I'm just gonna show it. This ugly thing. So this was a bright like saffron yellow, and I washed it months ago in my darks, and something got splotches all over it. And I tried using stain remover and I tried everything I could think of and washed it multiple times, but the stains just were not coming out, and they were just like big black splotches all over this thing. I mean, they weren't like, they were fainter, but they were enough that it looked like I'd just been rolling in dirt or something. So after a lot of debate, I decided to over dye it. And initially I was gonna go for more of like a coral red. And so I have that, I'll put a picture of, so I bought Rit dye and I got a big plastic tub. I really didn't want to use one of my pots or pans for this in my oven or my stovetop. And I didn't want to buy a new pan for it, but I figured a tote, like a little plastic tote, I can use that for storage later. But it was like, get the hottest water you can. And in hindsight, I would have gone for a narrower receptacle, because when you have a big tote, it takes a lot more water to get it to a certain height, so that you can actually dye in it. But I got as hot of water as I could without boiling water and added the dye, stirred it together, dunked this into it, ended up with this red thing, which was still very splotchy. And so when I bought the coral dye, I also bought a backup of black. And this time what I actually did was I used one of my kitchen sinks. It's a stainless steel sink. And I just figured I could get, like, it's smaller, I can still get this in it. and it actually did work better. So that's what I'll do in the future. But this is the outcome. So it's still incredibly splotchy. Now I know some people would say just go with it. I don't like this. This is not my vibe. And honestly, I was so upset with it. What I've learned from this experience is yarn dyeing's not in my future. I don't enjoy dyeing things. I don't enjoy working with dye or having to rinse things 9 million times. I actually got so annoyed with rinsing all the black dye out of this thing that I got some of my like cheapo dog towels that I use to wipe my dog's paws and put them in the dryer, or I put it in the washer and just put it on the rinse cycle, and then dried it, I think on low heat in the dryer. And you can also see like the thread they used was obviously not linen or cotton. It's probably polyester. So it doesn't, it's frustrating. So I did buy another bottle of black dye. I figured I'd give it one more go. Someone did tell me that it can take multiple trials. I don't think I have it in me to do this multiple times. But I also, what's annoying is like, I'd read all the instructions online on how to do this before I went and bought, because they also have like, how do you make your colors? And so I read all that, bought the dye, and then when I actually started using it, they mentioned you needed to use the color fixer at the end, which I didn't buy. So I now have that, and I might try this today or tomorrow. We'll see. I'm just annoyed with this. And it's sad because this was one of my favorite dresses. But I don't foresee myself wearing it in this iteration right now. I don't mind the brownish color. Like, I really don't. I actually think brown looks okay on me, but it just needs to be not splotchy. So, we'll see. Maybe next time it will be wearable. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to sewing. If sewing's not your thing, that's cool. I'll see you next time. That's all I have to talk about from now on. I think sewing's cool. I started sewing, I don't even know how long. I need to look up and see when I knit or sewed that first horrific green skirt. I hope I still have that because it was bad. It was not a beginner friendly project. But I have been sewing a lot lately. I think it's just really therapeutic for me because I can, like, it's one of the, like, I can start sewing, and if I don't have an audiobook on or music on or the TV on, my mind just wanders, and it actually is really good for me to process things I've been thinking about for a while, or like things I heard about recently that I just don't know how to think about them. It's allowing me to process those thoughts, which is nice, but it's also great for audiobooks. So I have been listening. I only listen to one audiobook. I really probably, like, I should cancel my Audible membership, but I think I tried that, and what I found is I can't access this audiobook when I don't have a membership. So I'm paying the Audible membership just to listen to this one book. It's Pride and Prejudice, and it's narrated by Rosamund Pike, and it is the best. I'm not low-key. I'm obsessed with it. I don't know how many times I've listened to it, but we're probably getting into like the 100 times. I get obsessive, and it's a vibe. That's what I'm listening. I'm listening to the vibe, and I love it. But that's what I've been on. Like, I was sewing this morning, and Darcy just proposed the second time to Elizabeth, and I love it. But okay, so let's talk about what I've sewn, and I will try to model all of these, or at least put a picture of myself, because it's kind of hard to see how things look when you're just holding them up. But the first one I sewed was some weekend chore shorts. This is, I think, by Matchy Matchy. They have pockets in the front and in the back, but they're both kind of side pockets, and I didn't line mine up. So I realized that when I was going to do my seam, and I would just, I didn't care. Neither side actually got lined up, so it's cool. They're also like a size too small. They kind of are a little too tight in my hips. And I kind of knew that was going to happen because when I cut it out, I realized I was cutting out a size too small, and I just went with it. So probably next time I will do a bigger size. I knit this out of some linen from Matchy Matchy. This is the summer linen, I think, and this was in pine. I love the color. I just wish they were just slightly bigger, but I also don't think I like the double pockets. So I think if I did these again, I would either leave the pockets out entirely. Actually, that's probably what I do, because like shorts like this, I don't think you really need pockets on them, but still, like, I'm not mad at myself about these. The pattern was actually really easy to follow, so I did like that. The other thing that took like a little bit, I had to wait a little bit to get this, is that the top of the pocket has interfacing in it, which I don't know that it really needs, but my mom bought some interfacing and gave it to me. Okay, so the next thing I sewed was a pair of lane pants that are way too big. So I made this out of, I think it's like it's got a little crosshatch stitch there, you can kind of see it. This is from Fabulism. This was one that when I got the color, I was like, I don't like that color, but I think for pants it actually works really nice. So this was my first time doing one of these pockets. I don't know what you call these, but I love them. They look so neat. Like, even honestly, if you kind of goof it, they still look neat, and I love it. What else about it? I love Sydney Graham patterns. They're my favorite. I love how she, like, honestly, she feels like a cheerleader for you the whole time. Even just reading the pattern, she'll put little like decals, and then it's like, you've got this, you're doing great, you're halfway there, or something like that. So I just really like that. I learned how to do buttonholes. So that's the first one I did, which was actually really good. And then I got cocky, and that was the second one, and it looks like garbage, but that's okay. So using a sewing machine my grandmother gave me, I think it was actually manufactured by Janome, which is cool. And one of the things that's kind of funny about this machine is that every time I like have to learn something new about it, I realize that it's actually like much better than I thought it was. So like, oh, it was months ago, I was reading in the manual about something else and realized that it had a automatic needle threader. Game changer. I can thread that needle so fast now. But one of the things I was like, oh, I wish mine had like a thread cutter. It does. Right on the side. Just pull it up and it cuts the thread. It's lovely. So yeah, that's been fun. But I had to look up how to do a buttonhole, and I looked up YouTube videos, but the problem was those are for those specific machines. And so I actually had to go find the old user manual that my grandma gave me, and it had a section in there on how to do a buttonhole. It's sorcery. It's amazing. I love it. So yeah, I can do buttonholes now. That's pretty cool. It did take a bit of trial and error. Like that part alone took more time than pretty much the rest of the pants. Finding threads in here that I need to cut those threads. So these are very wide leg. I'll put a picture of myself wearing them. So she does at the bottom, she does like you can kind of see it, like a 4-inch hem. And I think you do like 1/2 inch and then 4 inches. These were so long on me. I think I ended up like, I want to say I did like a 6-inch. Like I had to cut some off and then hem it 4 inches. Like they were so long, and I'm not that short. I would also like to point out how good my, I don't remember what you call it, like top stitching is. Can you all just appreciate how even and beautiful that is? I point this out because not everything is that nice, and the next ones you will see are not that nice. But yeah, they have elastic and they have a drawstring. I love that. I have not done any drawstrings since this one. just because I've been using smaller, it's just so much fabric. I've been using smaller quantities of fabric, and the drawstrings are not particularly fun to make. They're very fiddly. Okay. We've got 4 more, guys. They're 2 patterns, but 4 projects. So I figured I don't think I had enough fabric to make, well, that's not true. I didn't have fabric that wasn't already, didn't already have plans to make another pair of lane pants. So I wanted to make some lane shorts. And I'd heard it was pretty easy to hack the pattern. It seemed easy to hack the pattern, just don't cut out as much leg. And so what I did was I went through on my pattern pieces and just kind of eyeballed how long I think they needed to be, and accounting for if it went a little longer than that, because I figured I'd hem it and I may not, it's better to make them longer than shorter, and cut it out. And I struggled. So these are the first pair. I love the print. This is the Swedish holiday print, I think also from Fabulism. It's really cute. Really liked it. It has the pockets. I didn't do the drawstring, it just has elastic. But where I struggled, guys, was the hem. So I actually did pretty good until I got to the hem, and then it just was like you can see it just bunched up. I could not get it to lay flat. I ended up, look how bad this is. That's the hem. One of the hems I ended up picking out twice and redoing, and what I just kind of settled for, because I couldn't get it to work, is I just made sure the wonky bits were on the inseam, so you don't see it as much on the out. And then I put them on and realized they're still too big. But they're cute otherwise, and I might still take these with me to Greece because they're blue. So they kind of match everything else I'm taking. And I thought I could just wear these as swimsuit cover-ups. They don't need to be that fancy. They'd actually go cute with this. But okay, so I'm trying to remember when I worked on this. I think it was last weekend. Yeah, it was last weekend. So I did it on a Saturday night, and I got done kind of late, but I was so irritated because it had gone well up until this bit for the most part. And so, but I was like, I thought I heard on her pattern video for the lane pants that she had another video on how to hack them into shorts, but there was nothing by that name on her her YouTube account. Oh, the lady walking 2 very cute little dogs that thankfully my dog doesn't know about because she'd be barking. Anyway, so she has a video called boxer short tutorial, and it's the lane pant shorts. So she hacks her pattern, and she addresses how to make the hem work, and it makes so much sense. It's like, well, no duh, of course. So next day I went in and I cut my pattern down 1 more size, and yesterday I spent a lot of time making a second pair, and you can tell I've worn these a lot. I actually slept in, or almost, I fell asleep in the on the couch watching the weather in these last night. So just looking at this and realizing, oh, okay, that's what that is. Okay, so these were the 3rd size down. So this is my 3rd size I've tried making. They're still too big. I have a hard time finding my size for sewn objects because they are different than knitted objects. I know there's a certain amount of ease I want when I knit. It is not the same amount of ease that I want when I sew. I also think because I primarily knit tops, I know my bust measurements really well. I do not know my hip measurements as well. And I have measured, so it's not like I haven't. But it's not as straightforward as it seems like it should be. You know, I know where to measure my bust. I don't have a huge difference between my upper and lower bust, I don't think. And so I usually just measure my full bust and I'm good. But on the hips, it's well, do I measure I don't know. I need to I need to figure this out. Like, what point do I measure at? Because if you measure at the wrong spot, it'll be too small for other spots, and then some it'll be too big for other spots. Anyway, I need to figure that out still. I'm actually wearing some shorts that I bought like a J. Crew that are kind of in a similar style, and so I thought about just like laying those on top of this one and seeing, you know, or laying it on top of the pattern and kind of eyeballing like, okay, this is the size I should be doing, kind of like you do with knitting. But these still fit and they're cute, and my hems are so much better. They're not perfect, but they're definitely better. And you even make the pockets a little bit shorter so you can accommodate the shorter pant length. They're still a little bit too long, but I don't care. But they're cute. They're out of some black and natural gingham that I got, I think, from Matchy Matchy. Apparently my favorite place to shop. These might also come with me to Greece. I don't know. I think the leg on these kind of annoys me just because it's way too wide for my leg. So I could, in theory, go in and like taper them a little bit. I might do that just to make them fit better, but I don't know. I need to like watch a video on how to do that, because what I'm learning is going in and just doing things on my own without any advice. It backfires sometimes. Okay, the last two things I have sewn are two Ashton tops. One of them I actually wore in the airport. Let's do that. And one of them I finished this morning. So this one I made out of some summer weight linen from Matchy Matchy. It's like the petite knit of my sewing. I need to iron it. It's gotten all wrinkled. This one thing about wearing a linen top is when you sit and it bunches, it wrinkles. So traveling in this is actually not ideal. Also, what I've discovered, and I kind of adjusted for in the next one, is that I had to take this in a bit because my armholes and my neckline were too wide in this. So they kind of gape. And I don't think my stitching was bad on this. I think my bias tape was actually fairly good on this. I don't know. It just wasn't, it's just too big. I think also my bust darts on this were like, I don't know if you can even see them. Like, they do not line up. They're very, one is higher than the other. You can't really tell, but yeah, it's like, so it's like that. So that's something else I need to kind of watch. One other problem, did I do it on this one? I didn't. Okay. Sometimes what I'll do when I'm sewing my bias tape is this finished edge, I will get it twisted so it's like that, which annoys me. But this is still very comfy. It will still get plenty of wear. You know, that's one thing I've noticed that's kind of funny, is when I started knitting, it took me a long time, honestly, to feel comfortable wearing my knits out in public because they felt so handmade. And at that point, it wasn't a good thing to be handmade, you know. I was just like, I was worried people were going to see how uneven my stitches were or how wonky certain bits were. And I am not like that with my sewing at all. Like, if I make something and I trust my seams, I'm going to wear it in public. And it might be terrible, but also I think that's how you learn, because like this top, when I first finished it and tried it on, I was like, perfection. I love it so much. And then I wore it to the airport and it was gaping in the front and I could see my bra down on the sides, and I realized, oh no, there's things I want to change about this. And so I've started doing that, where it's like I finish it and I'm almost like immediately wearing the new thing. And so it may, like, people may notice, they might think, oh man, that doesn't fit her that well. I don't care. That's how we figured it out. So the next one I made, this is my last sewing finished object. I made out of this really cute, like, robin's egg daisy pattern from, also from Fabulism, one of my faves. But I raised, or I took some length off of the straps And that pretty much raised everything up. So now this is still, it's open, but it's still like it hides most of my bra. I do think my neckline kind of flared out a little bit, and I think I probably just stretched it too much. I need to actually like learn how to stretch my bias tape, I think, instead of my garment. But it's still not bad. And one of the things that happened with this one is, so you basically do a big bias tape at the bottom, but they have, I don't like, what I've learned is I don't like it when you have to sew the bias tape together and then put it on the garment, because that means your garment and your bias tape have to perfectly match up. And where'd it go? You can't see this from the outside, so it doesn't really matter, but they did not line up on this one. So I had to add in a little piece here to make it fit. So on this one, I just kept one side of the bias tape open. I don't even remember where it is, but where I got to, where I got to the point that they like met up, I sewed them together, laid it flat, sewed them down. Bob's your uncle. So yeah, this one is definitely better. It's not perfect, but some things I don't think are perfect, and I still think it's really cute. So this, I think, will come with me to Greece. I just think this would be really cute with some shorts. I am thinking, I really want, one of the things I really want to do is I have some like oatmeal linen, and I want to make an Ashton top out of that and a pair of Lane shorts. So that's part of the reason I've been like making so many Lane shorts, is I just want to make sure that I get it all the way I want it to fit before I use that, because I think it would be so cute to have a matching set in a really pretty linen kind of like this. I'm obviously going to pack some wrinkle release spray on my trip, because I'm not bringing a steamer. Actually, I do have a travel steamer. It's like tiny, so I'll maybe bring that. Ooh, I feel like I've been talking so fast. Okay, I have acquisitions, but I'm going to talk about one of them first because it's got a cute story behind it. I'm going to take this out of the crinkly bag. So I stayed with my grandparents one night after my conference ended, and my great grandma, who's no longer with us, was an avid quilter, like, and she hand quilted. I don't think she machine quilted. My grandma has actually gone through and gotten pictures of all of her quilts and has it in a photo album, and it's kind of funny because on the back she wrote like as much info as she had. So like, what was the pattern that they used, when was it done, but more importantly, who was it given to? Because now she knows who's supposed to have that quilt. So if you gave it to Goodwill, you are in deep shit, which I find hilarious. But so yeah, so my great grandma quilted a ton. My grandma actually quilts quite a bit. In fact, when she retired, I love this story. When she retired, she has always been a very active person, and retirement did not suit her at the beginning. So she started making lap quilts for a hospice company, to the point that they asked her to stop because she made so many lap quilts that they had too many. And I love that. She would actually go and like thrift all of the fabric for it. And so they were sweet. I think I actually ended up getting one of them. It's downstairs. But yeah, so she quilted a lot, and she has quilts all over her house. They're on every bed in the house. And I slept in one of the guest rooms, and there was a quilt, I'll put a picture of it, on the bed. I think it's been there for like every time I visited. I've just never really noticed it. And I asked her about it, and she said it was a block of the month quilt club. So it came out in 1986, and they would mail you the monthly block, and then you would sew that block, and then once you had like 3, you would sew them together and just kind of build it as you go. And each block was seasonal. So, excuse me, Here, I'm just gonna show you. So I asked her, I said, do you still have the pattern by any chance? And she did. So she gave me her patterns. So let me kind of show. So this is the quilt. So it's the Icy Fingers of January. There's something for like Love for February, the Windmills of March, April Showers, May Flowers, June Bride, July Butterfly, August Hot Air Balloon. No way, I'm doing my June, July, August, September Sunflowers, October Pumpkin, Turkey, and a wreath. So let me see. So this I think is the June Bride. Yeah. So they would give you like these templates like this and you would cut it out. They have applique. I've decided I'm making this. I'm 100% making this. Do I know what I'm doing? No, not at all. I have quilted before. I need to find this. I really hope I didn't get rid of it. When my sister got married years ago, I was determined that I was going to make her a quilt. I'd seen something on Pinterest. It didn't seem that hard. It was a bunch of multicolored rectangles that were like unevenly stacked in 4 columns with white in between. And I did it. I put it all together. I'm sure it looks appallingly bad, but I did it. And I still have that top. And I always intended to go like send it off to a long arm shop, but I was honestly so embarrassed with how bad my stitching was. I never did it. I need to. But there was no pattern. There was another one of those like, oh, eyeball it. So this is like one, let me see if I can get these. I don't know if these will line up quite right. And I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, but that's the June Bride. So you have to cut out like 1 billion diamonds. So you like sew all the diamonds into place in the background and then you applique on the bride. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to try to do these every month. I kind of felt like, you know, 1 a month is not that hard. This is the arrogance and ignorance of a beginner. But the other thing that I did that was quite ignorant, maybe not arrogant, just ignorant, is I bought fabric. I bought a crap ton of fabric. The pattern actually goes through and tells you like, this is what you need. So you need this much of each of these fabrics for these things. You need, you know, 3 light greens. No, it's 3 dark greens and like 6 light greens. And you need this many yellows or golds and all of that. I didn't read that. I just went through and started buying fat quarters and half yards where I could. And I got them yesterday, kind of lost my mind. And then I started actually grouping them by what I needed and realized I didn't get what I needed. So I bought more yesterday. That will be in soon. So the first ones that I'm not sure how I'm gonna use are these. I think all of these are Ruby Star Society and I bought them all from Ollie Fabric. So we've got just kind of run through some of these. I love this one. I think if I don't use these for the quilt, I will use these for like bags and things because I kind of want to get into that too now that I have stuff like that one. I really like this kind of like Art Deco look. Then there's some like, so there's this has like metallic splatter paint and then kind of rosy colored and more floral. So those are the ones that I don't know how I'm going to use those with this because they don't really fit into the theme. Okay, then I have my golds and yellows and oranges. So we've got that. This one's cute. It's like little candies. And we got that Art Deco one. We got the more floral one, and then, oh, we should have another one. That one, and that one. So these might be like the pumpkin or something. probably the sun, like this one. This one could be the sunflowers. Oh, it'd be so cute. So those are my golds and my yellows. Then I need a bunch of pinks, which I definitely ordered enough pinks. So I've got that. I love this one. It's little oranges. And then this one is that kind of metallic splatter paint one. And I got it in a bubble gum as well. And then we've got this cutesy floral and this very lovely retro floral. Love this one. Let me make these all even again because it's gonna hurt my OCD brain if they're not. Okay, so that's for the pinks, and then the dark greens, the ones I had were these two. And my light greens, honestly, these are my favorites of all of them. So there's this. Okay, ready for my absolute favorite? So cool. And then another florally one, and then this one has that metallic splatter paint. Actually, is it metallic? No, it just looks like splatter paint. So that's, I had to get one more greeny color, or I think two more greeny colors to go with that. Oh gosh, I made him. And then let's see, so I needed some neutrals. These, I under ordered on neutral, so I had to buy more of these. So I'm just gonna so this one's kind of cool. You can kind of see a little floral pattern on it. I got the oranges again. This one has little dog paw prints on it. I think I actually ordered that one again on accident. Got little multicolored stars, more florals, and then let's see, we got these two, and then that one. I know that one's not really a neutral, but we're calling it a neutral because I didn't buy enough, and so I had to buy 9 more neutrals. That's how much neutral, because like the June bride, the whole background is neutral, and then the bride pops out of it. And then for like the connecting things, I needed 6 dark and 6 light. So this is going to be one of my light ones, and then these two are dark ones, and I needed half a yard of all those, and so I happened to buy half a yard of these. So I bought some more similar. I actually don't know. It's really hard to buy this stuff online, to be honest. I did look to see if there are any quilt shops in my area that sell this stuff, and I don't think they do. And now that I've basically bought all of this Ruby Star, I kind of wanted to keep it in that, even if I know I didn't necessarily have to, but I kind of chose to. Let's see, I think there was like, yeah, so there's 2 other quilt magazines that he gave me. This one, I just think the quilt on it was really cute. And then this is another, the quilt on the cover, she actually uses exact colors, and that's on the other guest bed. So she gave me the pattern for that. But yeah, I just think it would be like, I love the idea that my great-grandma, my grandma, and I would all have made the same quilt, with obviously very different levels of skill, and different color palettes, because I don't actually know what my great-grandma's one looked like. I think she actually made several of those. But my grandma's color palette was very 70s, still is, like browns and oranges and golds, and I love it. That's not really my palette. I'm much more like bubblegum pink and chartreuse and blush pink and orange, and like that palette just makes me so happy. So we're gonna try it. I could find out very quickly that this is not my jam, but I think I'm gonna like quilting, so I think I'm gonna stick with it. But I'm gonna put this, I'm like so afraid that, because all of these pieces are like kind of old at this point, and I'm so afraid I'm gonna spill something on them, so I've been keeping them in this Ziploc because I really don't want to mess anything up. So yeah, that will be fun. I think I have to wait on some of that new fabric to come in to start, because I need to make the diamond background. I may start cutting some of it out today, because I think you use diamonds on a few different blocks. And so if I cut out too many, I'll just use them on the next block. But okay. Whew. The last thing I have is my sewing acquisitions. I got 3 orders this week. I have been sewing a lot, so I don't feel too bad about this. But I've just been, it's really hard to turn it off. Kind of like walking into a yarn festival and telling yourself you're not going to get anything at the yarn festival, or like you're only going to get a little bit. It's kind of like that when you just shop online for fabric. So, let's see, I'll talk about the first one. I'm not gonna lie, when I opened it and realized I only got 2 yards of the first one, I was a little annoyed with myself because I wanted a dress out of it, but it's okay. So this is all from Matchy Matchy. This is one of their summer weight linens. I don't remember what color this is. Oh, Tangelo. So it's kind of an orangey color. I made a dress out of their red one from last season, and I love this fabric. It is so soft. Like, it has no itch to it, which I think some linen does feel kind of itchy. This does not. So what I'm going to make with this one is a skyline top. So the skyline dress, but I'm going to modify it. She has I think a tutorial for how to modify it to make it a top. And this is coming with me to Greece, as long as it doesn't look like trash. Then the other 2, I got 3 yards of. They are all in the summer linen. So this is hydrangea. So I think I actually just bought a pattern. I just had it printed and it got mailed here. It's the June sheath dress. I think it's from Style Arc. I'm not sure if I have that quite right, but I think I want to make the sheath dress. It's kind of like the trapeze dress, but instead of being wide at the bottom, it's a little bit more narrow. And I think, oh, actually my nails kind of match it. That's fun. If it looks really nice, I think this could be like a good dress for dinner, but obviously still linen and very breathable. These, I don't know what I'm gonna make with this one yet. This is moss. I'm obsessed with olive green right now. I could make myself another dress out of this because I've got enough yards, but I don't entirely know yet. So I'm gonna wait and see if something strikes me. Okay, the next order I got from Cotton, which is my first order from them. There was an issue, I think, where one of the fabrics that I wanted wasn't in stock. And they also had kind of, because I think they're more of a quilting shop from what I gather. And so they sell everything in the quarter yard. And so when I ordered, it was like 12 for 3 meters, 3 yards. But some of them, they only had certain amounts. So I basically got the bolt ends. So some of them are in kind of odd amounts. So the first one, I've been kind of eyeing this. This is another Fableism. I think this is called like Canyon Rust or something. I don't remember. I think I got 2 yards of this one. I just think like in the middle of summer, this could be such a cute skirt or something. Just it feels very deserty vibes. I don't know. Then this one, I also think I got a weird amount of, and I don't remember exactly how much. I'm also looking at it and realizing it's a much looser weave than I thought it was. So, or maybe it just looks that way. Let's see. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But this is I think this is a Indian printed like iCat or something. I should have kept my receipt because I don't remember what. I have my receipt somewhere. I just don't know where it is because I kept it so I could remember how much of this I had. But I really love these colors. Honestly, this would be really cute in my quilt. Might have to save some of this for that. I had an idea too of making, my grandma used to make these quilts, and so she would take like clothes that people outgrew or that got like a stain on them or a hole in them, and she would cut squares out of it and make little square quilts. Or quilts with squares of all her old clothes. And so I actually have one of them. I need to find it. It's like in a closet somewhere, but they were just sweet because it was like all her stuff. So I thought about doing that with my fabric remnants. So we'll see. Okay, and this next one I love. I think this is so pretty. This is a quilting cotton, but it's opaque enough. I think I can make something out of it. And it's these little like chrysanthemums. They're so cute. So I'd also ordered like an apple green. They kind of just fit with this whole like palette, but they're out of that. And so they offered either a refund or I could buy something or get something of the same value essentially. So I got some everyday chambray from Ableism in this gray color. I actually originally wanted it in a beige, but they were out of that. So this was the color they had left in stock. I think it was Nocturne. But this is really soft. It's thin, but I probably won't make anything with this right now. But this would be, I wonder if you can make a pencil skirt out of this. It probably is too thin for that, honestly. It just feels like it wants to be a pencil skirt, but I don't know. We'll make something out of this. It'll be cute. Okay. Oh, I did save my thing from this one. One more acquisition. This has been a long one. This one, I saw something online, a dress that I thought was really pretty. I took a picture of it. I could not find anything like it on the internet. I thought, see if I still have the picture. If I do, I'll put it up here. But it was basically, it was a long dress, like a midi length dress that was very flowy, but on the bodice, the fabric was horizontal and kind of like layered or ruched kind of. And then it was just like a spaghetti strap. And what I was thinking was so you'd need like a layer underneath that was the more like structural layer, and then over top put more of a gauzy fabric that you can then ruffle and layer and gather. So I think at some point I will make this. I just need to figure out, like, I'm gonna have to self-draft this unless somebody knows of a pattern like this. And I will probably have to do some like mock-ups with some muslin and just see if it works. But I was on the quest for finding something that was very sheer that I could put on, I could use this as a top layer. And I went to You Fine Fibers and I got, what did they call it? This is Tutti Frutti Indian cotton. And I just think it's so cute. So it's a very sheer cotton. So like this, you could not wear this on its own. You can see me through it. This would need to be layered with something, although, I've been searching for a swimsuit cover up, and this would actually be a really cute swimsuit cover up because you wouldn't need it to be totally opaque. It could be kind of sheer. We'll see. Like in a perfect world, I would have like sewn and knitted everything I wear on this trip, but it's reality. My skills aren't quite there yet. And I have things that I've purchased over the years that I really like. So, I'm actually really proud of myself. Other than updating a couple swimsuits, I haven't really bought a lot of clothes for this trip. Mostly because I've just been like buying fabric to make things to take on this trip. But I think that's fun too. And honestly, I'm going to spend like 75% of this trip in a swimsuit. So it's fine. So excited for it. I cannot wait to go on this trip. That's it. That is all I have, guys. I am going to go spend the rest of my day doing some errands. I'm getting a facial later today. I'm very excited about that. I also got myself a Costco membership, and I feel kind of silly about how excited I am. I'm single. I live with a dog. I don't need a Costco membership. Like, I'm probably not going to buy a lot of food there, honestly, because like it'll all go bad before I use it. I do donate food pretty frequently, and so that's kind of why I got it, was to be able to buy in bulk for this certain donation. But I'm just excited to go like wander the middle spaces and just put my headphones in and just wander Costco. It just sounds delightful. I'm looking forward to it so much. That feels very like millennial. I'm getting to like well into adulthood kind of excitement. I also got a new iron and ironing board this week. Or maybe it was last week, I don't know, but game changers. So my previous iron and ironing board, I think I got them. The iron I've had since college. The ironing board I think I got when I moved into my house like 11 years ago. They're cheap. They're flimsy. The iron just doesn't get very hot. And I've kind of toyed with the idea of getting a better iron, but they're expensive. And ironing boards too. Like, nice ironing boards are expensive. And I know I spend at least that much money on fabric, but like, it feels different when you have to spend it on something utilitarian. But I finally broke down and just bought one, and I'm so glad I did. This iron, I got a Panasonic cordless iron. It's actually the one that Sydney Graham recommends. It's amazing. The only thing I do not like about it is it turns off after about 30 minutes of not using it, and that annoys me. It does heat up pretty quickly though. It's heavy, like it feels substantial. It's got a really good steam on it. It's good. And then the ironing board itself feels very sturdy, which I'm happy with, because my last one, like, I very nearly tipped it over multiple times. Like, literally just by putting the iron on it, I almost tipped it over. So, yay for adulthood. Alrighty. I think I should be back in 2 weeks. I realized too, I think it's at the end of this month I need to do my spring recap and like summer plans. Which have not gone according to plan. The wheels fell off this season. But yeah, so I might do that before the end of this month. So we'll see, but I think I should be back in 2 weeks. I don't think that'll be an issue. Yeah, that should be fine. I hope you guys have a really good 2 weeks. Hope you get lots of time for crafting, whatever that craft is. I hope you get to spend some time with the people you love. Hope you get some time to move your body and be active. And yeah, I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.